Generally,
so just a
and online, it also allows a larger number of participants to join us from pretty much every corner of the world. So I look forward to this summit and the panels. I will briefly sort of talk about digital transformation of NBFCs, and instead of focusing on buzzwords, you know, straight through processing and so on and so forth, you've already heard about. I'm going to spend a few minutes just talking about what are the underlying platform components that you need to care about in order for a digital transformation for your NBFC. Okay, I'm hoping that you can see my slides. Are you able to see my slides here? Okay, so there are 8 things that you need to care about, and I'll quickly take you through what these are. And a lot of this came from my understanding at Aadhaar when we developed the Aadhaar system as well at India scale, at a billion scale, and what those components are. First, the hub and spoke model. You want your server to be centralized with all the power of the CPU, the data, and the networking, and so on, but connected to devices at the spokes, and millions of devices probably someday, whether it is mobile phones, whether it's laptops, it could even be watches, glasses, and so on in the future. But a hub and spoke model is a very scalable model as opposed to a distributed server model, which constrains you. Secondly, cloud deployed. You want to ensure that the platform that you're launching your products on is cloud deployed, because increasingly the large number of transactions that have to be supported needs an elastic, scalable framework. Suddenly you need huge amount of infra during Diwali, and you're not able to provide that fast enough. So a cloud provider, whether it's private cloud or public cloud, can provide that. And also it is another thing that you get is ironclad security. A lot of the cloud providers are pretty good at this, since that is their 7/24 job, right? The third aspect is your applications, mobile first. As we all know, India has over 300 million smartphones, and people are using banking and payments more predominantly on mobile smartphones rather than laptops. Laptops are like people like you and me who are using it in the knowledge industry, but the average customer is using mobile, and the internet penetration in India is increasing more on mobile than on laptops. So you have to be mobile enabled. So this platform, out of the box, your banking platform that you're provided with out of the box should come with mobile apps for customer convenience, okay, customer delight. The next important aspect, okay, again, this is a learning from Aadhaar, where I was the founder CTO of Aadhaar, and I created the technology center in Bangalore. Aadhaar does 1,000 trillion biometric matches every day in order to issue 1 million to 1.5 million enrollments. This was at its peak. So without real-time data coming in and a dashboard where we could visualize what is happening at every part of the country, we would have been lost. Our operations would have been slow. Our executive decision-making would have been poor. I built a dashboard architecture, BI analytics, where you could see pie charts, you could see maps, you could see heat maps of where transactions are happening and so on. You also need it. As your NBFC grows, as your loan book grows, as the number of people in your organization grow, you need real-time data in dashboards where you can visualize what is happening in real time, right? Both for operational, day-to-day operational needs, as well as for better decision making. The next thing I tell you about a fundamental concept for digital transformation is API, or banking as a service. Again, I'm actually borrowing many of these concepts and this architecture from the NoPay banking solution. One of the things I've seen ourselves is, if you're able to expose your products and services, not just on laptops as web apps, not just as Android apps on the mobile phone, but also as APIs, application programmatic interface, so that your partners can consume your services through a computer interface and provide it to their customers, maybe on their own apps, right? So APIs are going to be very, very important in the future. Your partners and clients are going to weave new stories using your microservices in order to deliver their customers your products and services. Next, very importantly, Nandan Nilekani and iSpirit and others have done a fantastic job on the Digital India strategy, on the India Stack strategy. Of course, Aadhaar was the first implementation on ID. There were several others. There was eSign and eNASH. There is UPI, as you have seen, is taken off right through the roof. There is now the OCEN framework for flow-based lending. You need to be able to incorporate the India Stack features, because India has gone way ahead with respect to financial services at a national scale, thanks to the experience of programs like Aadhaar. We've been launching several others like UPI and eSign and eNASH, and now GSTN and so on and so forth. And the likes of Bill Gates and others have commented, have really spoken highly of India's forward-looking architecture. So you need to also adapt these, okay? And the platform you provide needs to come out of the box with these adapters that can deploy these solutions. Next, artificial intelligence. You might have heard a lot about artificial intelligence. A lot of people might have talked about it, written about it. I can tell you that it is perhaps the single most important technological change in a decade or two. It is probably as important or perhaps more important than smartphones was for financial services. So I would say, please don't ignore this. I think credit rating using unstructured data, using existing training data from your existing portfolios, all of this will be the norm. In fact, my own prediction is that credit rating by human beings is using rules is probably not going to last for very long, maybe 3 to 5 years, because the number of parameters that come out of a digital exhaust from the India Stack services, from the use of smartphones, from your own transaction data for your own customers, there is going to be a wealth of data that you will want to use. Instead of using 10 parameters or 15 parameters, you will be using 300 parameters out there, because an AI model can make sense of these 300 parameters, make sure your NPS are lower, and your scale can be higher because you don't need human beings to eyeball this. This is, of course, in the future, it's not there yet, but very, very important trend I would suggest you do not ignore. Last but not the least, I would say a layered and modular platform. See, today's way of working, you pick products, a CBS here, the CRM there, and so on, and then get an SI to build this. You're at least 2 levels away from the customer. And the customer experience that you seek eludes you because of that. You need a vertically integrated stack with all these components: AI, cloud-based, dashboards, India Stack, API enabled, and mobile first with your applications, provided with your CBS in a layered and modular way, so these Lego blocks can quickly launch new products. If you have a new lending product for SMEs, your LOS should be configured in a matter of weeks instead of months. So the layered and modular architecture is a very, very important aspect, I would say. So largely, to summarize, in fact, I had one last point I'd like to make before I close is the old systems that relied simply on relational databases, okay? The older core banking systems that just relied on relational databases will not scale. Aadhaar would not have scaled if we just used a relational database, such as an Oracle or a MySQL or a whatever, DB2 and so on. It uses new NoSQL components which make it capable of delivering India scale. And they're also horizontally scalable, right? So all your components need to be horizontally scalable. So to wrap up, hub and spoke model is needed for your platform to power your NBFC. It should be cloud enabled to deploy in a private or a public cloud. certainly mobile first. The platform should provide you with an out-of-the-box mobile application, dashboard and analytics for better decision-making and operational efficiencies, divorced from the production system so that it doesn't slow down your production, API-based services, India stack integration so that all the new innovations that India is coming up with respect to financial services needs to be adopted into this platform, and you need adapters, whether it is card adapters, NPCI switches, Aadhaar switches, UPI switches, and so on, UPI adapters and so on. And AI, absolutely important. I think you need to start looking at it, investing in it, start adopting the fact that a GST-based invoice discounting is an interesting example. SME lending based on transaction data, as well as the digital exhaust from so many of the India stack services are important. All of these I would start piloting and testing out to understand how AI-based, flow-based lending can be adopted. And finally, a layered and modular platform. I will leave you with this. There are many nuances of what I've spoken, but today I wanted to go to the underpinnings of what can bring about a digital transformation in your NBFC. Okay. Beyond the buzzwords and platitudes, what are the building blocks of digitally transformed NBFC? And that is what I've focused on. I look forward to the various panels. An interesting set of panels have been put together for you, and an amazing list of delegates I've seen and speakers. Leaders from across the NBFC organizations are here today. I look forward to participating with you. There is a panel that I'm also moderating at 2 p.m., but I'd love to see all of you and interact with you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nadamuni.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nadamuni, for an exciting session. Thank you so much again for kickstarting the India NBFC Summit 2020.